Hi, thank you for joining us on the ORTM exclusive interview with the President of the Transition, who is wrapping up his stay here in Beijing with a packed agenda. Mr. President, hello. Thank you for agreeing to this interview. I've been saying this since Beijing. You were received immediately on arrival by your counterpart Xi Jinping. What can we learn from your meeting? We've replied. At the invitation of the Placency. To take part in the China-Africa Summitship, a major partnership meeting between China and its African partners. So on the bangs of this summit, we were received by President Xi Jinping to take stock of our cooperation. China and Mali maintain fraternal relations, which go back 60 years. And these relations continue to grow stronger, in areas such as defense and security, education and agriculture. The energy sector, in other words, in virtually all areas that affect the lives of our populations. So we took stock of this cooperation, but also at the request of President Xi Jinping, it was decided to raise the level of our partnership to a strategic partnership, which makes perfect sense. And that's why we've decided organize the foreign ministers, a state visit during which we will define the scope of our strategic partnership. We also discussed a number of projects that needed to be finalized. It was a question of getting the financing for his fodder, and that was a given, but also the need.
Greetings, families. Welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If this is your first time, my name is Mamri, and as you can tell, this video is about President of Mali, President of AES, his final interview in China before he left China. Yes, he is back safely in Mali as we speak now. It is packed, and I said, let me just translate it for the benefit of those of us who do not understand French, so we will know what went on. Even though we have listened to him several times, this video is summarized of what happened. Monies that they have given to them, billions, 22 billion that the Chinese government has given to Mali, and even more. Charity, support, and more. Agriculture, you can just imagine. I will not come in this video. I will let it play so we can all listen to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Xi Jinping decided to offer around 22 billion. And without any compensation to the Malian people. So in this amount, there is also a part that will be presented. Another amount was also donated to flood victims. Accepted that was pending since 2018, 2019 and that we really managed to resurrect. This was the amount earmarked for the construction of the new National Assembly. And also the Diabetic Wound Center. So it's also about 25,000 hours, so we really want to thank the President Xi Jinping for this donation. The most important thing with China is that today, we share a certain number of flight principles with China, notably respect for the sovereignty of our states, consideration for our peoples and above all non-interference in internal affairs. This has enabled us to continue our discussions. And we're always looking for opportunities to move forward with these strategic partners.
Credit to ORTM TV. This interview went on, but there was interesting question that the interviewer asked him. We were all thinking about it, or I was thinking about it, when he had photos of, meetings with the African leaders. You can see them smiling, and I even put a title, China has united Africa leaders, because that's how I feel looking at their behavior towards each other over there. So he was asked what went on, and he went on to say that they have to become one because of security reasons. Whether they like each other or not, they have a common enemy that they need to fight, which is the terrorists. So they were having meetings to discuss, even those that they do not share borders with, they still have to discuss what is going on, how they can fight these people together, because it's not a fight for one country. They have to deal with this elephant in the room. So they have various meetings, they have come to conclusions, which they will share with us later. Please listen to more and I'll be back. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman, you also had a number of meetings with some of your African counterparts. What did you talk about? So with the African heads of state I met, we talked at length about security issues. As you know, we're facing armed terrorist groups today, and with our porous borders, no country will have the policy or the resources to face this terrorist group alone, so we need to pool our resources. We need to share intelligence so that we can really fight this armed terrorist group. So it's in these cases that I've had to talk to a number of people. Particularly the president, in any case, even if we don't share the same border, but we have to work together because they border Burkina Faso. So with morality, we share the same borders. It was necessary to meet and discuss with them so that we could develop the necessary strategy to see to what extent we can welcome each other to fight effectively against various armed terrorist groups. You're in Beijing now, aren't you? As part of the OFOCIC N 2024, which was and a declaration and an action plan. Does Mali recognize itself in these two documents adopted here? Indeed, we fully support the two development axes advocated by the Presidential Jipping, and these two development axes concern practically all the sectors we have discussed, notably the health and security sectors, the education, agriculture, and energy sectors. Sectors also, the climate environment in all these different sectors are part of these two axes. So we're totally on board. As part of the action plan for these two areas, the forum was marked by 4 high-level thematic conferences. In particular, you took part in the one on governance, and what conclusions did you draw from it, Mr. Chairman? With this theme of governance, China and Africa have become aware of their role and, above all, their weight in global governance. As you know, the African and Chinese populations make up 1/3 of the world's population. So no development policy, especially when it comes to governance, can take place without these things. So that's why we decided to work with China to improve global governance. And this governance cannot be bequeathed to certain countries that claim to have the privilege of promoting good governance. So, during this meeting, it was a question of giving and receiving. Indeed, we too had certain good practices that we exchanged with the Chinese, so we gave and then we received. So it was an exchange of experiences during which we talked. But the most important thing today is that Africa, China and then Africa have become aware their role in global governance. You are also president of the Confederation of Sahel States. Was this discussed here during your talks? Yes, we have. First of all, since the creation of the Confederation of Sahel States last year, I've had the privilege of being a member. To send an information letter to all our strategic partners, including China, so during our audience with President Xi Jinping, we talked about the creation of the Confederation of Sahel States. We also asked for his political support and help in civilizing our various borders. And I think he's been very open and willing to help us according to our requests. I also met with the various feminists of the Confederation. It was also to reassure them, to give them guidelines for our position, which is to always advocate the truth according to our from our realities to our needs. So today, the 3 countries have strategic resources. And if you take Nigeria, uranium, oil, gold, Mali has gold, lithium, iron, manganese, Burkina too. So many strategic resources. I think that today, when we manage to pool all these strategic resources, we can promote the development we want. And included a series of visits to a number of Chinese companies. Why was it important for you to visit these companies? That for me, the city of these various companies had 2 major studies. Firstly, we have contracts with all these companies, we have contracts with them. Not only that, finalize certain contracts in progress. Also to be able to reinforce or validate a certain number of contents that we had to, if also it was a question for me of bringing them the political support because that was decided with President Xi Jinping. To bring our partner up to a strategic level. So we had to reassure them that they had the support of the Malian people, so that we could really work and strengthen our partner. But the most important thing is that all this is going to be done with a partner. Gagne Doyen, we didn't really come to ask for 100% quid pro quo. Today, our countries are looking at strategic resources and can allow us today to discuss with any country in a win-win partner framework that we went to see these companies not only finalize these as the number of contracts, but also see in the future what we can do together because there are some, they have skills that we talk about that have not been But when we got here, we realized just how capable they were. So, such as in the construction of iron schemes, in the construction of explosives manufacturing plants in other areas. So it's a question of seeing what we can do together. But the most important thing was to reassure them that, from now on, we're on a strategic level. So that's going to give it the necessary weight, the necessary will to commit to everything we can do together. Mr. Chairman, yours truly. The highlight of your stay was the traditional meeting with your compatriots here in China. What was your message to them? We've instituted every trip to any country. The minimum is to meet our people, to salute them, to salute their commitment to everything they've done for the transition, and also to salute their determination, because they are fellow citizens who effectively contribute to the development of our country. So the minimum for me is to meet the saliva of the deal, the news of the country. To reassure them. So during this meeting, I explained to them all that we had to exchange as working science with the Chinese party. I also gave them advice on respecting the law of the land in residence. And this will enable us to defend them in many of their claims. But they did mention a number of constraints, and we're going to work with them at the foreign affairs level to get through them. Let them be comfortable here in the data, he's a man of ease. To enable them not only to get around, but also to work in good conditions. And at the end of your visit here in China, you're returning to Bamako. How do you feel about it? I'm satisfied with this visit, because not only was it decided to raise the strategic level, but that makes perfect sense, and from that point on, it's as if we just start the cooperation because it's a French cooperation, a win-win cooperation. And all the problems that have been raised by our compatriots here and everything we want to do in the future. I think that, starting with this visit, we're going to relaunch all this. And during the state visit, we'll be focusing on sensitive sectors, sectors that will really enable us to further strengthen the well-being of our people. All projects promoting Mali's development, but also to ensure the development of our populations. Thank you, Mr. President, for answering our questions. And thank you, dear viewers.
Families, that's it for now. I hope you have enjoyed this video. You have taken one or two things from this video, things that we'll be expecting. To me, particularly, is about the agriculture. He also talk about the factories that he visit. We've seen it. Some are on this channel that he has visited and test some of the weapons. Yes, he talk about it. Why not visit them and see what is going on while you are there? Because they already signed contracts already, as he said. So it's great to explain to us. I think he said something like they will be having a meeting in Mali as well. I mean, the Malians, like they do. Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traore does this like every 3 months or so, call all the people, the population, and the important people in the country to tell them where the country is heading towards to. I have a feeling he's going to do something like that so the people will know what is going on. And also the agriculture aspect, I like that, the electricity, everything that he talked about. You can see that he strongly believe in the Chinese, Russia, and Turkey relationship, and things will work better. Thank you, families. I will leave you here. God bless you all. Leave comments what you think about this, and I'll be back with something else. Thank you. God bless you, my VIP members, my queens and kings, my returning families, and new ones. Please subscribe if this is the first time that you come across this channel to support this channel. Thank you. See you soon. Credit to ORTM.